Lucia, you're acting selfishly. Families sacrifice for each other. Those words stung, echoing moments from my past. At 13, I surrendered my birthday savings for Liam's soccer camp. At 17, I missed prom to afford an SAT tutor my parents couldn't cover. At 22, I juggled 3 jobs through college while Liam, lounging rent-free in the guest house, flopped his 3rd business venture. This time, defiance surged within me. No, I declared, arms crossed tightly. I'm keeping my money. Victoria's eyes widened, as if I'd struck her. Her voice grew sharp. That's not your money. It's ours. We raised you, supported you. I fired back, heart pounding. You raised me to endure you. I supported myself. She stood in my apartment, an uninvited queen in a space she'd never bothered to visit. No congratulations came when I landed my dream job, 6 figures, full benefits, a corner office. Yet, as my paychecks grew, I became the family's golden goose. Liam leaned against my counter, smirking with infuriating confidence. It's simple, Lucia, he said, voice dripping with nonchalance. Just help out. My new startup's a sure thing. Suspense tightened my chest. I'm not bankrolling your 4th failure, Liam. You drained Dad's retirement and Mom's savings. I'm not next. His face contorted. What? You think you're above us now? Quietly, I replied, I've always known I am. Victoria's gaze burned with fury. We're your family. Without us, you're nothing. I swung the door open, pulse racing. Then you'll survive without me. She froze, her warning laced with venom. You'll regret this. Blood is blood. I held her stare until she stormed out, Liam trailing like a petulant shadow. That was Thursday. By Monday, dread arrived in an envelope at work. The receptionist's face flushed with pity as she handed me court papers. A smug man in a suit waited in the lobby. Lucia, you've been served. My hand stayed calm until I read the words, petition for conservatorship due to mental incompetence. In the break room, under buzzing fluorescent lights, I collapsed into a chair. The words blurred as I read them thrice, breath shallow. They weren't just after my money, they wanted to erase me. I'm Lucia, 29, a finance expert sharper than men twice my age who dare to mansplain my reports. My childhood home traded silence for currency, love doled out conditionally. Liam could have torched the kitchen and been lauded for flair. I was grounded for AB+ in math. Favoritism roared loudly, a birthday without candles, my name absent at dinner, my mother boasting to neighbors about our genius Liam, while I clutched a full scholarship. I learned young to document everything. At 11, I recorded my mother's screams, accusing me of stealing her bracelet, pawned by Liam for weed money, though she never questioned him. Her nails bit into my arm as I secretly hit record on my flip phone. That file, now triple backed up, joined years of evidence. After the court papers, I opened my laptop, heart heavy with resolve. Folders labeled by date and incident held screenshots, voicemails and audio, my mother's icy voice, Liam's mocking laughter, my own voice growing bolder. Desperate, I called Nico, my college debate partner and confidant. They're trying to declare me mentally unfit, I said, voice trembling. A stunned silence then. What the hell? He vowed to help. Curiosity pulled me to an old photo album, tucked away in my parents' attic. A 1993 picture showed my mother, stiffly smiling beside a woman with my eyes. On the back, faded ink read, Yvette, don't tell Derek. Google revealed Yvette, a DC family law attorney, sharing my mother's maiden name. My mother claimed she was dead. She wasn't. Drama pulsed as I stood outside Yvette McBride's Georgetown law office, clutching the photo like a lifeline. No appointment, just raw need. The receptionist hesitated when I mentioned Victoria. Minutes later, a woman in her mid-60s emerged, sharp suit, silver hair, eyes mirroring mine. Lucia, she said, voice soft with shock. In her office, I handed her the photo. This was in their attic. You're in it. Her jaw tightened. She told me you were dead, I added. Yvette's bitter laugh cut the air. That's her style. I slid the court papers across her desk, heart racing. They're claiming I'm unfit to control my finances. Her eyes scanned the document, narrowing. This is grave. I leaned forward, voice steady. I came to you because you've been erased from her life, like me. You know secrets about my family I don't. Yvette leaned back, studying me, as suspense hung thickly between us. My heart raced as I faced Yvette. Will you stand by me? I asked, voice trembling with hope. She didn't respond immediately, her finger tapping the court papers with a rhythmic intensity. Do you have proof? She asked, eyes narrowing. I opened my laptop, a surge of determination coursing through me. Years of it. I revealed files, voicemails, audio clips, screenshots. One of Liam texting at 2 a.m., demanding cash. Another of my mother hissing not to cause a scene at a funeral when I dared mention my stolen college fund. Yvette's expression remained steady, but her gaze sharpened with intrigue. Send these to me. Every single one, she instructed. I'll draft a response to the petition and request a hearing. We must act swiftly. I nodded, gratitude swelling. Thank you. She paused, her voice heavy with warning. Lucia, do you grasp what you're unleashing? Meeting her eyes, I felt a spark of defiance. They attacked first. She gave a single nod. Then let's begin. That night, suspense hung thick as I sat on my living room floor with Nico. He sifted through files on his laptop, while I clutched a wine bottle and a notebook scrawled with dates. This voicemail, he said, excitement in his voice. Where your mom sneers, you're just like your aunt, always ruining everything. It's a gem. It proves she knows Yvette exists. Use it. I agreed, urgency rising. We need to show their pattern. I unearthed an old USB drive. This has the Christmas 2018 recording. Liam screaming at me, calling me a parasite for not paying his car loan. Nico whistled, stunned. Your family, wow. I shrugged, masking the ache. You've only seen the highlights. He glanced up, concern softening his voice. You holding up? My screen glowed with folder names, gaslighting, threats, manipulation. A knot tightened in my chest. I'm not sure, but I'm ready. He nodded, resolute. Good, because they're not. 3 days later, Yvette handed me a manila folder, her expression grave. This is our initial response. The hearing's in 2 weeks, but there's more. She revealed a photo from the 90s, my mother, Yvette, and an unfamiliar man. That's Thomas, she said, voice heavy with secrets. He and Victoria were close when you were conceived. My stomach churned as I stared at the photo, suspicion swirling. You think he's my real father? Yvette's eyes held mine. I don't know, but Victoria altered your birth certificate in 1995. I found the records. Shock hit me like a wave. Why? I whispered. If you're Derek's daughter, they can tie your finances to the family trust. If not, they have no claim. I leaned back, the weight of betrayal sinking in. This is bigger than a conservatorship. Yvette nodded. It always was. Thomas's eyes in the photo mirrored mine. Same shape, same hue. Yvette's hand rested on the folder, her voice firm. We'll get a DNA test discreetly. But once this breaks, there's no turning back. Resolve hardened within me. I'm done retreating. Her faint smile felt like a quiet victory. That night, I flipped through the family album, heart pounding. Behind Liam's graduation photo, I found a sealed envelope, my name scrawled in shaky handwriting. I tore it open, anticipation tingling. The letter read, Lucia, if you're reading this, you found her. I'm sorry I stayed silent. I wanted to speak, but your mother threatened to ruin me. I couldn't risk it, yet I never stopped watching your rise, your strength. You're nothing like her, but everything like me. Love, Yvette. Tears blurred the words as rage and relief collided. They tried to erase me, but I was done vanishing. At Savannah's apartment, drama crackled as she stood in the doorway, arms crossed, her voice sharp. Why talk to me now after everything? Suspense tightened my throat. Because you know who Liam really is, and I think you're tired of pretending. Her eyes studied me, hardened by years of betrayal. She looked worn, edges sharpened by pain. "Fine," she said, stepping aside. 5 minutes. Her small, tidy apartment hummed with tension. A dog barked from another room as she tossed a hoodie over laundry and gestured to the couch. "I'm not here to pull you in," I said, heart steady. "But I need the truth, and I think you're ready to share it." Savannah sat, legs jittering, her voice raw. "He drained our joint account, claiming it was a business crisis. Turns out he bought a drone and a PS5. I nodded, unsurprised. Classic Liam. Her scoff was bitter. He said I was lucky to be with him, that my job didn't matter because he'd be a millionaire by 30. He's 33 and owes my cousin $5,000. I opened my phone's audio app, pulse quickening. "Can I record this?" She hesitated, fear flickering. "Only if I won't end up in court." Honesty steadied my voice. "I can't promise that, but I'll shield you as much as I can, and I'll stop him from hurting anyone else like he hurt us." After a long pause, she nodded. I pressed record, anticipation surging. "Start anywhere." She inhaled deeply. "Thanksgiving, 2 years ago, at your parents' house. You remember?" He was drunk. Tension gripped me as Savannah spoke, her words slicing through the haze of memory. My mother ignored Liam's outburst at Thanksgiving, even as I mentioned my promotion. He erupted, screaming that I thought myself superior. My pulse quickened. "What you don't know," Savannah said, voice low, "is that I left my phone in the baby's room. The monitor recorded it all." Shock widened my eyes. "You still have it?" She rose, crossed to a drawer, and retrieved a flash drive, her cold, steady fingers brushing mine as she handed it over. "There's more," she whispered, suspense hanging heavy. "Your mother told me you were unstable, prone to episodes, emotional, dramatic." My stomach churned with betrayal. "She said that to you?" Savannah nodded, her gaze unwavering. "She claimed if Liam needed to protect the family, they had ways to control you." Dread coiled tighter. "Why help me now?" Her eyes dropped to her hands, heavy with regret. I stayed silent too long. "And your mother, she's not who you think. Neither are you." The next morning, curiosity buzzed as I met Nico at a diner. I slid the flash drive across the table, heart pounding. Thanksgiving. The unfiltered truth. He plugged it into his laptop, earbuds in, and pressed play. His face darkened, eyes narrowing, jaw clenching. "Jesus," he muttered, voice thick with disgust. "This is ugly." I leaned forward, resolve flaring. "Good. I want it played in court." He met my gaze, concern flickering. "You ready for that?" I nodded, fierce. "They tried to make me invisible. I'm done fading for their comfort." A faint smile crossed his lips. "You're terrifying like this." I smirked. They should be scared. Drama pulsed in Yvette's office later that day as she played the clip. Liam's slurred insults and threats blared, my mother's voice in the background murmuring, "Don't provoke him, Lucia. You know how he gets." Yvette didn't flinch, but her eyes gleamed with strategy. "This is gold," she said, leaning back. "It proves emotional abuse, gaslighting, and manipulation, and dismantles their narrative." Determination surged. I wanted an evidence. She nodded. "It will be." I hesitated, then added, "Savannah said they called me unstable, planning to control me." Yvette's face hardened. Suspicion etched deep. "They've been plotting this for years." "They underestimated you," she said, voice sharp. I handed her a folder, my hands steady. School records, medical files, employment history, all clean. No diagnoses, no issues. "They can't fake this." Yvette took it, her nod resolute. "We'll get an independent psych evaluation, voluntary. That'll crush their claim." She leaned forward, eyes intense. "Lucia, this isn't just about money. It's about power. Your mother doesn't lose." Defiance burned in my chest. "She will this time." Yvette's smile was razor-thin. "Let's ensure it." That night, alone, I opened an old journal, flipping to a high school entry. My mother called me too sensitive again. Liam stole my headphones, and she blamed me for not hiding them. I cried, and she labeled me dramatic. I hid in my room unnoticed. Pain stung as I tore out the page, feeding it to the shredder. That girl was gone. I wasn't hiding anymore. I wasn't alone. The courtroom reeked of polished wood and raw nerves. Beside Yvette at the long table, I felt the weight of every eye. Across from us, my parents and Liam posed like a perfect family portrait. Matching outfits, fake smiles, Victoria dripping in pearls. Suspense tightened as Judge Ree entered, tall and unsmiling, her gaze cutting through the room like a blade. "Let's begin," she said, voice cold. Their lawyer, Carson, oozed smug confidence, his polished shoes glinting as he gestured toward me. "Your Honor, the Hayes family is here out of concern for Lucia's mental well-being. She's shown erratic, paranoid, financially reckless behavior." I nearly laughed, anger simmering. "She's isolated herself, refuses communication, and made large financial decisions without consultation," he droned. "We believe she's a danger to herself and others." Yvette stood, voice steady. "Objection. No medical evidence, police reports, or financial instability supports this. My client is a functioning adult with a clean record and a six-figure income." Judge Ree nodded. "Sustained. Mr. Carson, stick to facts." Carson coughed, unruffled. "We have family statements detailing emotional outbursts and irrational decisions." Liam sauntered to the stand, exuding arrogance. "Liam," Carson began, "describe your sister's behavior this past year." Liam's concerned act was sickening. "She's been off, cut us off for no reason, accused Mom of stealing, crazy stuff. She's always been intense, emotional. Once screamed at me over a phone charger." My fist clenched under the table. Yvette whispered, "Stay calm. Let him unravel." Carson grinned. "Is she financially irresponsible?" Liam leaned forward, feigning sincerity. "She bought a $2,000 couch while our family struggled." Yvette shot up. "Objection. Her income supports that purchase, and the family struggles stem from Liam's failed businesses, not my client." Judge Ree's nod was curt. "Move on." Victoria took the stand, her gaze piercing me. "Lucia's always been sensitive," she said, voice saccharine. "We tried supporting her, but she pushes us away, thinks we're against her." Yvette rose, calm but lethal. "Your Honor, I'd like to submit Exhibit A." She handed a flash drive to the bailiff. The judge nodded, and the audio filled the room, Liam's voice slurring. "You think you're better than us? You're nothing but a paycheck." Victoria's voice followed. "Don't provoke him, Lucia. You know how he gets." Silence gripped the courtroom. Judge Ree's eyes locked on Victoria. "Do you deny this is your voice?" Victoria's jaw tightened, her composure cracking. "It's out of context." Yvette's smile was icy. "We have the full recording, Your Honor." Suspense crackled as Yvette's voice cut through the courtroom. "The recording lasts 37 minutes. Shall we play it all?" Judge Ree's tone was firm. "That's enough for now." Carson scrambled to regain footing, his voice oily. "That was a private family moment," Yvette countered, sharp and unyielding. "It demonstrates emotional abuse, gaslighting, and manipulation." The judge's gaze shifted to me, steady and piercing. "Miss Lucia, do you wish to speak?" My heart thundered as I rose. "Yes, Your Honor." I stepped to the stand, locking eyes with my mother, drama surging through me. For years, I believed I was broken, too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. But I wasn't. I was inconvenient, a misfit in their curated family image. Turning to the judge, resolve hardened my voice. "I've worked since I was 15, put myself through college, never asked them for a cent. Yet, when I built a life, they demanded a share. When I refused, they branded me insane." Carson leapt up. "Objection." The judge's voice snapped. "Sit down." I faced my parents, anger flaring. "They call me unstable, but I have no mental health history, no debt, a career I earned. I have proof of their lies, and the right to live free from their control, only loving me when I serve their needs." I stepped down, pulse racing. Judge re-glanced at Yvette. Anything further? Yvette approached the bench, a sealed envelope in hand, her voice low with intrigue. This may nullify the petitioner's claim entirely. The judge's brow arched. What is it? Yvette's words hung heavy. Confidential documents concerning my client's birth certificate and potential paternity. If verified, the petitioners lack legal standing for conservatorship. Victoria's face drained of color, shock etched deep. Judge reopened the envelope, her eyes scanning slowly. Suspense gripped the room as she looked up. We'll reconvene in 3 days. I'm issuing a temporary block on the petitioner's access to Miss Lucia's accounts. Her gavel struck, adjourning the court. Outside, Victoria seized my arm, her voice venomous. What are you doing? I shook her off, defiance blazing. You should have left me alone. Her accusation stung. You're tearing this family apart. I met her gaze, unflinching. You did that long ago. Liam lunged forward, eyes wild with rage. This isn't over. You think you'll win. My voice was cold, steady. You've already lost. I turned and walked away, heart pounding with victory. In Yvette's office, she slid a manila folder toward me, her tone grave. You might want to brace yourself. My stomach plummeted as I opened it, revealing birth certificate copies, notarized letters, and a trust agreement. Liam's name alone. Curiosity burned. What's this? Yvette's voice was measured. Your original birth certificate and the one Victoria filed in 1995. I froze, dread rising. Why change it? She needed you, as Derek's daughter, to tie you to the family trust, Yvette explained, her words heavy with implication. I met her gaze, pulse quickening. So, I'm not. She nodded slowly. There's a strong chance you're not his biologically. DNA results are pending. I stared at the documents, betrayal sinking in. They built a trust and excluded me. Yvette confirmed, her voice firm. Your grandfather's money was meant for both children, but Victoria diverted it all to Liam, using your legal status to cover it. My temples throbbed, anger surging. They stole my inheritance, and now they want everything else. Yvette leaned forward, eyes fierce. This is financial fraud. If the DNA confirms our suspicions, their case crumbles. We can sue for restitution if Victoria manipulated the documents. Resolve steeled me. Let's do it. 2 days later, court-mandated mediation dragged me back to the house, its lemon cleaner scent laced with deceit. Victoria's fake smile greeted me. Lucia, you look tired. I shot back, voice sharp. You look desperate. Derek sat in the living room, clutching a mug, avoiding my gaze. The mediator, a calm woman in her 50s, opened her notebook. Let's begin. Victoria's voice dripped with false concern. We're here because we love our daughter and want what's best. She's under stress, making irrational choices. I snorted, sarcasm biting. Like refusing to hand over my money? Victoria continued, unfazed. Like cutting off her family, accusing us of theft. I turned to the mediator, calm but pointed. May I respond? She nodded. I produced a printed email, heart steady. This, from 2017, shows my mother demanding I co-sign a loan for Liam. When I refused, she called me a selfish little girl, threatening regret. I slid it across the table. Victoria's face remained blank. That's out of context. I pulled another document, tension rising. This is Liam's text, threatening to ruin me if I didn't send $5,000. Derek finally spoke, voice weak. Lucia, you're exaggerating. I faced him, drama peaking. Did you know? He blinked, confused. Know what? My voice cut like a blade. That I'm not your daughter. Silence suffocated the room. Victoria's face blanched. Derek stared at her, then me. What are you talking about? I revealed the photo of Thomas, suspense thick. This man, Mom's lover around my conception. Victoria shot up, voice shrill. This is absurd. I pressed on, unrelenting. You altered my birth certificate. Fury surged as I confronted Victoria, my voice sharp with accusation. You diverted funds meant for me into a trust, lied about my identity, and now you're trying to seize what I've earned." The mediator cleared her throat, voice cautious. "Let's take a pause." I shook my head, resolve burning. No pausing. We're ending this. Victoria leaned across the table, her sneer dripping with venom. "You think you can ruin us? You're just a resentful girl with daddy issues." I stood, heart pounding with defiance. "No, I'm a woman with proof." Turning to Derek, I demanded, "Did you know?" He stayed silent, eyes downcast. Victoria snapped cruelly. Of course he knew. He didn't care as long as the money stayed with us. Derek flinched, her name a plea. "Victoria." I stared at him, disgust rising. "You're worse than her." Grabbing my bag, I stormed out, the air thick with drama. That night, sleep eluded me, suspense gnawing at my thoughts. I recalled the attic's old safe, hidden behind Christmas boxes. Victoria always dismissed it as mundane paperwork. After midnight, I drove to the house, heart racing. The dark, silent rooms felt heavy with secrets. Using my key, I crept to the attic. The safe remained, its combination, Liam's birthday, unchanged. With a click, it opened, revealing folders, tax returns, legal papers, and 2 envelopes. One for Victoria, another unopened, with my name. Trembling, I opened mine, anticipation surging. The letter read, "Lucia, if you're reading this, I failed you. I should have spoken sooner. Your mother banished me from your life, but I've watched your strength grow. You're more than she ever dreamed, and I'm sorry for your pain. You deserve truth, peace, and every cent they stole. Love, Yvette." I sat on the attic floor, clutching the letter, tears blurring the words. They tried to erase me, but I held the evidence, and soon the world would know. The courtroom buzzed with curiosity, packed to the brim. Savannah's cryptic tweet about truth-telling, or perhaps the allure of a perfect family's unraveling, had drawn the crowd. Beside Yvette, nausea churned, but she radiated calm. Nico whispered, handing me water. "Just breathe. You've got this." Savannah, seated near the witness stand, gave a subtle nod, her hands clasped tightly. I nodded back, resolve steadying me. Judge re-entered, commanding silence. "Let's proceed," she said, voice unyielding. Yvette rose. "We call Savannah Dawson." Savannah took the stand, swearing in, her small frame belying her steady voice. "Savannah," Yvette began, "how long were you with Liam?" 3 years, on and off, she replied. Described their family dynamic. Savannah's gaze was firm. They treated Liam like he was flawless. His mother especially. He'd falter, and they'd pin it on someone else. Usually Lucia. Yvette presented a recorder, suspense hanging thick. "Do you recognize this?" Savannah pressed play, and Liam's voice snarled through the speaker. "She thinks she's better. That money's mine. If she doesn't pay, I'll ruin her life. She won't see it coming." Gasps echoed in the courtroom. Victoria's face hardened to stone. Yvette pressed. "When was this recorded?" "Last year," Savannah said. "He didn't know my phone was on." "Did you witness financial misconduct?" Yvette asked. Savannah nodded, voice clear. "He opened a credit line in my name. When I confronted him, he said his mother would handle it, and she did." Judge Ree leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Did Victoria know it was fraud?" "Yes," Savannah confirmed. "She called it just paperwork and told me to stop overreacting." Yvette faced the judge. "We submit this audio and testimony as evidence of character, intent, and financial manipulation." "Admitted," Judge Ree declared. Victoria shot up, voice shrill. "This is a setup. That girl's always despised us." The judge's tone was icy. "Sit down, or I'll hold you in contempt." Victoria sank back, fuming. Yvette called Nico next. He strode to the stand, laptop in hand, confidence radiating. "I've been aiding Lucia with documentation," he said, clicking keys. "I found something curious, a transaction log from a family account. Liam moved $15,000 to a fake LLC, a shell. The routing number traces to Victoria's account. She authorized it." Judge Ree's eyebrow arched, suspicion evident. Are you alleging financial fraud by the petitioners? Nico nodded. Yes, Your Honor. We've submitted the full report. Liam leapt up, red-faced. That's a lie. That's not mine. The judge snapped. Mr. Hayes, sit down. Liam glared at Victoria, who seemed ready to combust. Yvette pressed on. We also submit bank statements, emails, and a signed document showing Derek knew of these transactions and did nothing. Derek shrank, desperation in his eyes. The judge turned to him. Mr. Hayes, do you deny this? Silence. Mr. Hayes. His voice was barely audible. I didn't want to ruin the family. I spoke from my seat, anger flaring. You mean the image of the family? Judge Ree's gaze shifted to me. Miss Lucia, anything further? Yvette handed her an envelope, drama peaking. DNA results confirming Lucia is not Derek Hayes' biological daughter. The judge read, her expression grave, then looked up. This alters the petitioner's legal standing. They are not her guardians and have no claim to her finances. Victoria stood, voice breaking. You can't do this. She's still my daughter. She's not your property, I said. Victoria spun toward me, her eyes wild and furious. You ungrateful little. Enough, the judge barked, sharp and stern. One more outburst, and I will clear this courtroom. Victoria trembled as she sat back down, seething. Yvette turned calmly to the judge. We are requesting the petition be dismissed with prejudice, she said, her voice steady, and we're filing for damages, defamation, emotional distress, and attempted financial exploitation. The judge gave a tight nod. I'll take a short recess. We'll reconvene in 30 minutes for my ruling. Out in the hallway, Liam cornered me, his face twisted with rage. You think this is over? He hissed. You think you won? I didn't even blink. I didn't win, I said. You lost. You did this to yourself. You destroyed everything. No, Liam spat. I exposed everything. You destroyed it, I said. He moved in closer, menacing, but suddenly Yvette appeared behind me like a ghost, her presence solid and unflinching. Step back, Liam, she said coldly. He backed off, his eyes burning holes through me. Yvette gave me a quick, concerned glance. You all right? I nodded, heart pounding. Let's finish this. Back in the courtroom, the judge returned, her robe whispering across the floor. The room held its breath. The court finds the petitioners acted in bad faith, she declared. The conservatorship request is hereby denied and dismissed. Furthermore, this court is referring the matter to the district attorney's office for potential criminal charges involving financial fraud and perjury. Victoria gasped audibly, the sound slicing the heavy silence. Liam muttered a curse under his breath. The judge lifted her gavel with finality. This is no longer just a family dispute. It is a matter for federal prosecution. Bang! The gavel struck, final and cold. For a moment, no one moved. Then Yvette rose, holding a white envelope in her hand like a weapon. Your Honor, she said, voice calm but edged with ice. This document verifies that Lucia is not biologically related to Derek Hayes, meaning he has no legal grounds for guardianship or financial control. The judge took the envelope, peeled it open, and scanned the paper inside. Her gaze snapped up, first at Victoria, then Derek, and finally settling on me. Is this accurate? She asked sharply. Yvette nodded. Verified by an independent lab. Chain of custody fully intact. Victoria shot up from her seat, so fast her chair screeched across the floor. This is slander, she shrieked. No, Yvette replied coolly. This is science. Victoria's voice cracked, broken. She's my daughter. I raised her. I fed her. You forged her birth certificate, Yvette interrupted, stepping forward like a hunter closing in. You diverted funds meant for both children into a trust for Liam. You deceived your husband. You lied to your daughter. You lied to this court. Derek, silent until now, finally spoke, his voice a low growl. You told me she was mine, he said. Victoria whirled on him, desperate. You knew. You said it didn't matter. I said, Derek snapped. I didn't want to know.
You chose to lie.
I just didn't stop you. Yvette turned back to the judge, unshaken. Your Honor, she said, in addition to dismissing the petition, we are submitting evidence of financial misconduct, falsified documents, and perjury. She handed over a thick, heavy file. Judge Rhee flipped through it, her face darkening. This is substantial, she murmured. And, Yvette added, we're requesting damages for emotional distress, defamation, and financial exploitation. My client's life, both professional and personal, has been deeply harmed by this case. Victoria's face twisted into a mask of bitterness. She's not a victim. She's vindictive.
She's always been jealous of Liam.
Always trying to tear this family apart. I stood up, my voice trembling with emotion but unwavering. No, I said. You tore it apart when you chose him again and again. When you said I was too emotional, too dramatic. When you let him scream at me and brushed it off as boys being boys. When you told the world I was crazy because I refused to let you control me. Victoria lunged toward me, rage dripping off her like venom. I gave you everything, she cried. No, I said softly, steel in my voice. You took everything. And now you're furious that I survived it. A bailiff quickly stepped between us. Victoria backed away, her chest heaving, face twisted. Yvette turned back to the judge. We request a formal ruling. Judge Rhee nodded, cold and deliberate. The court finds in favor of the respondent, Lucia. The petition is dismissed with prejudice. Damages will be determined at a separate hearing. Additionally, this case is referred to the district attorney for further criminal investigation. She struck her gavel again. Victoria screamed. Actually screamed. You ungrateful. You ruined us, she howled. I didn't move. Didn't flinch. I just watched as she crumbled. Liam tried to grab her, but she shoved him away with wild strength. This is your fault too, she snarled. You couldn't just shut up and let me fix it. Derek stood still, hollow, like a shadow of a man. One by one, the bailiffs led them out. Yvette turned to me, a small smile ghosting her lips. It's done. I nodded. Almost. Outside the courthouse, the world exploded. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashed in blinding bursts, microphones thrust toward me. Lucia, do you have a comment? Are you pressing charges? Is it true you're not related to Derek? I held up a hand, firm. No comment. Through the chaos, Nico emerged, cutting through the crowd. He reached me, shielded me, and steered me toward the car. You okay? He asked, voice low. I don't know, I admitted. I think I just won, but it doesn't feel like winning. He opened the door for me. It never does, he said softly. Later that night, I sat in Yvette's office, the quiet hum of night around us. She poured 2 glasses of wine, the liquid gleaming ruby red under the soft light. To the end of the worst chapter, she said. I raised my glass. To the beginning of the next. She handed me a folder, thick and heavy with new beginnings. This is everything the court awarded you. Damages, restitution, even a formal apology from the state for their mishandling of your case. I flipped through the documents, my heart pounding. This is a lot, I whispered. You earned every penny, Yvette said, smiling warmly. I looked up at her, something aching inside me. Why did you write me that letter? I asked. The one you hid in the safe? Her smile softened, almost sad. Because I knew someday you'd need to hear the truth. Not from a judge. Not from a lawyer. From someone who's lived through it. I nodded, emotion choking my throat. Thank you. She clinked her glass against mine gently. You didn't just survive them, she said. You beat them. As I left her office, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown number flashed across the screen. You think this is over? I stared at it for a moment, the coldness of it crawling up my spine. Then, with a calm hand, I blocked the number. Because I did believe it was over. And even if it wasn't, I was ready. The wind whipped through the cemetery trees as I walked along the gravel path. The sky overhead was a weary gray, not furious, not raging, just tired, like a heart that had seen too much. I found the grave easily. The headstone was simple, humble. Thomas Reeves, beloved friend. 1965 to 2000. I knelt down and brushed the dead leaves away, letting my hand linger on the cold stone. I don't know if you ever knew about me, I said quietly, but I know about you now. I pulled a folded piece of paper from my coat pocket and gently placed it at the base of a stone. It was a copy of the DNA results, not because he needed proof, but because I did. I'm not here for closure, I added under my breath. I'm just here. Behind me, footsteps crunched on the gravel. I turned sharply and saw Yvette holding 2 coffees. Didn't think you'd come, I said, my voice low with surprise. I owed him, she answered simply, handing me a cup. And I owed you. We stood there, silent, the cold air wrapping around us, sipping. I started the paperwork, I said, for the scholarship fund. She smiled softly. Under his name? Yeah, I nodded. For kids like me, the ones who were invisible in their own homes. She nodded again, her eyes shining. He would have liked that. I glanced at her, heart thudding. You think he would have liked me? Yvette didn't even hesitate. He would have loved you. Back at my apartment, the boxes loomed against the wall, a quiet army. Not moving boxes, donation boxes. I was finally clearing out the last scraps of the life I had built to survive them. Old awards they never showed up to see. Photos I used to pretend meant something. A drawer crammed with journals from years too painful to reread. Nico walked in, takeout in hand. You sure you're ready to let all this go? He asked, voice cautious. Yeah, I said, taping the last box shut with a satisfying rip. It's not who I am anymore. He set the food down and leaned against the counter. You know, he said thoughtfully, you could write a book about this. People would devour it. I laughed, short and sharp. A revenge memoir?
He grinned. No.
A truth memoir. I studied him. You think anyone would care? He shrugged, easy. Doesn't matter.
It wouldn't be about them.
It would be about you. I wandered to the desk, pulled out a fresh, clean notebook. On the first page, my hand trembled as I wrote. This is not about revenge. This is about reclamation. Nico peered over my shoulder, grinning. That your title? Working on it, I said, smiling. You're going to be dangerous with a pen, he teased. I smiled back, feeling the weight in my chest lighten, just a little. The next morning, the phone rang. It was the DA's office. Just wanted to inform you, the woman said briskly, the investigation into the Hayes family is moving forward. Liam's being charged with wire fraud and identity theft. Victoria is being looked at for perjury and falsifying legal documents. I didn't even bother asking about Derek. I just thanked her and hung up. The last time I saw Victoria was in a grocery store parking lot. She was sitting in her car, staring blankly at the steering wheel, like she had forgotten how to drive, how to live. I walked past her without breaking stride, but she spotted me. She rolled the window down. Lucia, she called out. I turned slowly. She looked older. Not aged by time, but worn down by guilt. I didn't know how to love you, she whispered. I know, I said quietly. I thought if I controlled you, I could keep you safe, she said, voice cracking. You weren't keeping me safe. You were keeping me small, I said, the words falling heavy between us. She swallowed hard. Do you hate me? I met her broken eyes. No, I answered. Her face crumpled like paper in the rain. But I don't forgive you either, I added firmly. Not yet. She nodded, tears glinting in her eyes. I don't expect you to. I turned and walked away. She didn't try to stop me. That night, I sat on my balcony with Yvette and Nico. The city lights blinked below us, a heartbeat in the night. We passed a bottle of wine back and forth, the glass cool against our fingers. You know, I said, I always thought justice would feel cleaner. Yvette chuckled dryly. It never is. It's like, I won, but I still lost something. I murmured. You lost the illusion, Nico said. That's always the hardest part. I nodded slowly, feeling the truth of it sink deep into my bones. But I gained something, too. Your freedom, Yvette offered. I shook my head.
No.
My name. They stared at me, silent, waiting. I pulled out the official document I'd picked up that morning. Name change approval. My birth father's last name. It's mine now, I said, voice trembling with pride. All of it. Yvette raised her glass high. To Lucia Reeves. To truth, Nico added, smiling. I clinked their glasses, and for the very first time in my entire life, I didn't feel like I was just surviving. I felt like I was finally living. I didn't burn their empire down for revenge. I did it so they would stop pretending they ever built it at all.